You're listening to a wee moan podcast with Nads and Joan.
Welcome back to a Wee Moan podcast with Nads and Joan, your guide to all celebrity news, entertainment, and pop culture. Nadia, it is good to see you.
It's so good to see you. Your intros are the best. I feel like you're going to take over from now on. I love them so much. How have you been? I feel like it's been a while, and I feel like we need to address that.
It has been a while. There's been a few things happening in my little old life, as I'm sure it's been happening in your little old life too. But we are back, and there's been a lot happening. How about you? How are you? You've cut your hair, Nadia. You've cut your hair.
I've cut my hair. Yeah, it was a funny story. Me and Dad began this lovely tradition through COVID, and it just continues on. I cut his hair and he cuts my hair every, 4 months or so. This time, though, I asked for a Leslie bib, and he gave me a young boy cut. But I'm growing into it. I did have a little teary directly after it because I was a bit shocked. But now I'm kind of getting used to it, and as you said before, it'll be Leslie Bibb by summer. So You've
got to go short to start with to get the perfect hairstyle in a month or two. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I like the way you think. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, so we had there's a documentary series on at the moment on Netflix, which talks about the television show that we all know and loved. The Biggest Loser. It's the American Biggest Loser, which all of us watched. So we're going to talk about that and how our ideas of the show may have changed in the last decade or so since we last watched it. What we thought was kind of okay is now oh my God, I can't believe that was on TV.
Major.
And then that is going to lead into a bit of an Ozempic and diet talk. Because
just weight loss trends in general. Ozempic has just taken over Hollywood and the world. And we just want to dive in. Yes.
So we'll learn about, you've been trialing Ozempic for the last 2 months for us, along with your Ritalin, and look at the results.
The results. The Ozempic phase is really kicking in. No, I have not had Ozempic, nor am I likely to ever have it. But I was behind the scenes just joking with Joan that Ritalin does have an appetite suppressant effect, a side effect.
Speed, baby.
Pardon?
Speed.
It is speed, but I'm taking it. I feel like it's microdosing at this stage with the amount that I'm taking. But I have noticed a little bit. But the thing is, when you come off Ritalin, it's a very short acting, you want to eat a lot after that. So I don't know, unless I up my dose, I feel like I'm probably going to put on weight, but that's fine. Moving on, The Biggest Loser. I've got to bring this to the stage. So it's on Netflix. It's called Fit for TV, The Reality of the Biggest Loser. It was released recently, and it's just an expose on basically the years of, I should have actually written down when it started. It ran all through the noughties and I feel like the 90s. And maybe
late 90s and then early 2000s,
Early 2000s, and it starred Jillian and Bob. And that was the American, and then it had franchises all. We had the Australian Biggest Loser. We had it was in Singapore.
We had AJ and Hayley Lewis.
That's right. Remember, and AJ
seemed to get larger and larger every season.
Yeah, I did. I wanted to sort of. I was gonna I was trying to work out how I could say that. But also I feel like when she stopped on the show, all the new ideas were photographing her, unflattering pictures of her in the bathers on the beach and stuff like that. I think she had a rough time of it.
I think so.
Yeah. But it's, it comes off the back of how so obsessed we are of beauty. The beauty standards that we have for ourselves are so unreachable, and especially when we're surrounded by processed foods, addictive foods, with the advertisement and everything that we don't have a chance,
No.
And a lot of people use food and as a vice, as a drug. Like, it is very
Mhm.
addictive for some people. So it can be like coming off heroin, like it requires probably some psychiatry and psychology to
Well,
understand why
global, Nadia, bit of a fact for you. Global
Yeah.
obesity has tripled since 1975, and apparently
Yeah.
2/3 of Australians are considered overweight or obese, and that would be because of our serving sizes, the insane amounts of sugar that's in all of our food, and our bad
Yeah.
diets. I see it at, well, me myself. I eat way too much sugar. I love it, but
Yeah.
the food in children's lunchbox is just sugar, 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 sugar. And then we all know this, we're eating the white bread, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But America is top of the board here. They are very overweight and their serving sizes are insane. Have you ever been?
Yeah, I remember.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember going to Hawaii and the food was like, I went there with a friend and by the end of it, we're like, let's just share. We'll just buy one thing and we'll share it because it was
Yes.
outrageous. But like, I remember in the 90s, there was such a fad for, the fat-free fad. It was everything became fat-free,
which high sugar.
Which meant
Right?
everyone had the high sugar thing.
Yeah.
And as we know now, like, we're becoming, far more educated over the years that that fat really isn't the problem. We need healthy fats for our brain function and for healthy bodies. It's the unnatural high levels of sugar, devoid of nutrients and devoid of water. Like, if you juice something, and devoid of fiber, that is really shocking our bodies.
Is cheaper than water. I mean, what the hell's that?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And it, it still shocks me today that the entire one aisle of our supermarket shopping aisle is dedicated to soft drinks. It's pretty remarkable if you think about it. But so like this documentary goes into the show and behind the scenes, and it goes into the characters that they audition to get onto the show.
The contestants.
Yeah. So tell us a bit more. Like,
so pretty much, look, it's everything you would think anyway. Clearly, the Biggest Loser was about getting really fat people, putting them on TV and making them do embarrassing things. But the documentary goes into actually how dangerous it was, and that probably, professionals like the doctors who were behind the scenes and the trainers shouldn't have been making these people do what they were doing. A lot of the contestants who actually won were completely starving themselves in the week before the, and you'd go to the, like you'd go, the show would end, everyone would go home and have to maintain their weight, and people were literally just eating that maple syrup and chili for like a week and not eating. So one of the contestants speak, and he won. He lost, he lost like 200 kilos. He said that before he went on the stage that night, he peed into a vessel for the doctor and there was blood in it.
Oh my God, that's right.
Which means that you're completely dehydrated, so you're pissing blood.
Yeah.
And
so I think that was the point as well. The last 3 days or something, they did like.
Remember that maple syrup cane? Do you ever remember that? Cane?
Yeah, I remember that. That was like from the
syrup.
Celebrity, like, like Beyonce used to drink. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's what he was doing. And then Jillian, anyway, he goes on, he wins. Jillian hugs him and says, "You just won me $1 million."
But what was that? Like, I didn't understand that. Does Jillian make like a bonus for if her team wins? Like, was that?
I don't know, Nadia. That's a good question. Something we could email off to the documentary makers and ask them. But I don't know. Look, I suppose it just makes her a really like successful trainer, although it's not really because she's been belting these people around. I feel like
that was insinuated without, like I feel like that's what they were saying, that the trainers were actually getting a bonus for their efforts. But like, it's in the name, Joan. It's a humiliating show, The Biggest Loser. Like, you've already got an idea of what it's going to kind of And the challenges that we were talking about that they were making them do is like move like food from one side of the room to another, just using their mouths.
That was
There was this,
so
yeah,
humiliating. I cannot believe they're like, okay, you all have to transport 400 donuts dripping with chocolate and huge eclairs across the room with your mouths.
yeah.
That's humiliating.
But you know what, Joan? Like, we can look at this retrospectively, but I remember at the time thinking that was a bit like off. Like, I remember thinking this is kind of a little bit, you know, it's on the edge.
Yeah.
And then how was that woman, like, they told a story on the show about this woman who like died basically on the cameras. It was like, like they had all of the contestants there. They hadn't quite made it onto the show. So they had like 20 and they had to eliminate it down to 15 or whatever it was.
Yes.
And they had to do this crazy like marathon
1 mile
on the
run.
beach. And
1 mile run in the hot sun along a beach.
Yeah.
And she went, like she just burst out of the gates sprinting and she died.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. I think her heart stopped. Her heart had stopped.
She reckons she like crossed over.
They said to her, we're going to have to cut your legs open to like release pressure or something. And then the doctor came on and the doctor was like, I suppose the doctor was really kind of saying you shouldn't go on the show. But she was escaping a horrible marriage. She desperately did not want to go home, blah, blah, blah. And she went on the show. She was then painted out to be quite an annoying contestant.
The villain. Yeah, like
online and stuff, didn't she?
Yeah, they gave her the villain kind of badge. But like it's kind of like they all knew that it was sort of, I don't know, there was a lot of desperation to get on this show, like it was their last hope, like it was the.
Well, they all say that.
Thing.
That's what they say. They say it's like winning the lottery. Yeah. Like one guy applied like 4 times, and he's just like desperately trying to get on.
Yes.
And very upset every time he didn't. And then he got on. But Nadia, were the people you saw at the end of it, were they like who were past contestants? What was their weight like now?
So they were all, except a few, they were all overweight. And that's where we're going to go into the second part of our podcast is the people that were looking, slimmed down, were admitted to be on Ozempic. But before we get into the Ozempic, I just wanted, there was so Jillian is threatening to sue basically. The producers of the show and Netflix and all the other thing. I actually feel like it's more of a like a marketing kind of strategy for her PR.
Yes, you're onto it. Yeah, totally. Let's get more attention. Why? Like,
because I feel like she looked, because she wasn't on the show. Actually, I reckon Bob looked pretty like not very compassionate man on the show. Like he kind of was like, I could have done better, but I was like, I was training. I was not used to training fat people. I was only used to training like fit people. I was like, like he didn't come across as a very charismatic, but Jillian.
Yeah, but he was also just honest. He was just honest. I like Bob.
Yeah, okay, but I don't know. I didn't warm to him. Let's put it that way. But Jillian,
didn't you?
No, Jillian didn't come across very well because she was shouting at the contestants. She was giving the contestants drugs like caffeine pills and different things like that. Right. She, like, I don't think she got a good rap because she wasn't there to, talk a bit about herself as well. So I do have a little thing to share here. Can you see on the screen there?
Yes, please.
So this is,
no, not yet. Put it up. Still, I don't know why she's bothered. I think you're right. She wants attention. But I mean, like, it's not like you saw anything on that show that you didn't know. My experience with the show, I loved it. Lived in Clifton Hill at the time and was completely obsessed with it. Watch it every night. I do believe one season they filmed in Ararat, which was the fattest. I think they'd done studies and decided it was the fattest town in Victoria.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Went to Ararat and helped people lose weight. That was with young Shane. And then, of course, we had Michelle Bridges, our trainers, remember Michelle
That's
Bridges?
right, Michelle Bridges.
And she married, remember she hooked up with, what was the guy's name? The big beefcake trainer?
No idea. Oh, the commando.
The commando!
I can't believe I just remembered that.
They had a child together, did they not?
Oh, yeah, okay, that's all. I
Or did
remember
they
her
call it
being a little
Axel?
bit nicer than Jillian Anderson. All right,
Or
so
Australian.
here is Harvey Levin talking to Jillian about her plans to sue.
Oh,
What's
great.
your grievance with the
Okay.
Netflix documentary?
Of course. Well, honestly, it's just filled with so many lies. And of course, I have the emails and the text messages to back all of this up. And, right now, my team and I are trying to figure out the best way of going forward in dealing with this. Do we pursue this legally? Do I just do a data dump and give you all of the emails and all the receipts? But for the show's doctor to suggest that I never worked with him, for example, that's one of his lies. There are, Harvey, I don't know, hundreds of emails going back and forth between me and the show's doctor. However, I did have very serious issues with the way the show's doctor handled the contestants. And I requested, and I have all of this in email, that the contestants see specialists and other doctors. Sometimes they allowed that to happen. Sometimes they didn't. There was an endocrinologist in particular that I had asked them to refer my contestants to, named Dr. Katja Van Hurley. Of course, Dr. Huizenga was very angry about this, and she would often overturn many of his decisions. So, for example, a contestant showed up and was on metformin. Dr. Huizenga would randomly, and I, again, can prove all of this in emails
Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel
randomly
like
pull
this is just a
contestants off of
PR stunt. I'll stop
medications,
it there.
which
Look
is,
at
by
him
the way, what he
pretending to be
did
interested.
to Tracy, who's in the documentary. I believe he pulled her off of, I think she was on.
I'll stop it there.
Thanks, Jillian. Whatever. Who cares?
It's a
Who is
PR
going to
stunt.
be interested in trawling through her boring emails?
Well,
dated-
what's she going to sue? What's she going to
Yeah.
sue? Like, she's got this, like, if that's a PR, that's TMZ PR stunt. I'm sorry. She didn't like the way she looked on the show. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to sue. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to sue. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Boring.
Like it's just a PR, yeah, well done.
Yeah.
So that's really, that's really the show. And like now let's just talk into the Ozempic, because like, I don't think the Biggest Loser
I
could
said
really
to you,
live
because I
in
fell
this
asleep in
reality.
the last episode of the Biggest Loser expose. I fell asleep and I said, oh, what happened at the end anyway? And you said to me,
Yeah.
well, they're all on Ozempic, Joan. And I was like, oh. So let's talk Ozempic, let's talk Ozempic. So most of my research on Ozempic has come from a book by Johan Hari. He wrote Stolen Focus, and then he's also written this book called I can't actually a little pill or something. Although it's not a little pill, the magic drug or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Ozempic is a type 2 diabetes drug. It controls your blood sugar levels in the body, and the company that owns it, Novo Nordisk, which is based in Denmark, is Europe's most valuable company. So they're making shitloads of money.
Oh,
America has
I
a
bet.
rival company, Eli
I
Lilly,
bet.
who also produce it.
Yes, I bet.
Yeah. And as we know, pretty much the whole of Hollywood's just like downing this stuff. We're going to go into how you take it. How do you take it, Nadia?
Yeah.
How do you take Ozempic?
So basically, it's very similar to an IVF type injectable. So basically, you inject Ozempic or Mounjaro, or there's I think a few other names of it. You inject it weekly in subcutaneously in either the thigh, the arm, or the stomach area. And I have a price list if you would like to know how much it costs.
Please.
So basically, in Australia, if you have if you're on the health, the subsidy, God, I can't talk.
If you can get a health subsidy,
yes, it's $31 which is, if you don't, it's only 134 to 170 per pen, which is kind of like, yeah, I think that's monthly because you can divide the pen, you know, it's not just one administer, like you can administer it a few times with different needle attachments. In the US, if you have insurance, it can be about around $30. But if you don't have insurance, it's about $1,000 a month out of pocket. And like, I don't think insurance covers like weight loss, you know, so I'm sure you would have to pay out of pocket for it because I don't think the insurance companies are like, you know, gifting away this stuff for
I think if the pen, I imagine the 1.5 mil pen that you inject into yourself once a week, I imagine you'd need to do one. You'd be doing one of them each week, right?
Yeah. No. So the pen, maybe the pen lasts over. No, you buy that. It comes with different needle attachments. So you just take the little needle off the top and then you put another needle into the pen. So you can get a few out of the one pen.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's quite, you know, I mean, if you're scared of needles, but that doesn't really seem to be stopping too many people. I mean, the list of like side effects is pretty major. And then it says in one clinical study, about 8% of people experience diarrhea while taking Ozempic. And I want to say that's quite high.
Yeah.
I reckon that's pretty high.
10%.
Well, it's 8%.
Okay, well,
yeah.
10%. So 1 out of 8 people is getting
diarrhea.
Yeah, it's a lot of Hollywood just getting diarrhea all over the place.
Well, you know, that brings me to the Oprah Winfrey thing. She was hospitalized in 2024 for stomach cramps and dehydration, and I call BS. I think it was an Ozempic. I think it was completely Ozempic because what creates dehydration and the mixture of stomach cramps, I reckon that's absolutely diarrhea. And diarrhea can kill you if you know, like, what celebrity goes to the hospital for dehydration? I'm sorry. But like, here's a list of other bad side effects of Ozempic: nausea, blurred vision, stomach pain, Oprah, allergic reactions, bloating, constipation, hypoglycemia, diarrhea, gallstones, kidney disease, pancreatitis, thyroid cancer, dizziness.
Yeah. You're not telling it to them.
No, gastroparesis, headache, trachycardia, and burping, fatigue, heartburn, loss of appetite, obviously.
That's the point.
Reduced urination, bowel obstruction, intestinal blockages. I mean, do you want me to go on?
No, is there more? What else could happen? Your head just explodes.
So you gotta really want to be skinny, you know.
Wow,
the world of
people
Hollywood,
do.
I can understand.
Now, I mean, for me too, like, that's a whole lot of bad side effects. And there are a number of stars that we have researched who don't suit Ozempic and have taken it and then just like got insanely dizzy and vomity, et cetera, including Kate Moss's sister. I mean,
tell me more.
Did you even know she had a sister?
I know. Yes, I did. I actually did know that. But, you know, I'm a special case.
No. I was, there she is. Lottie.
Oh, gosh, she's gorge.
Lottie did not like it. She got ill. So she decided to stop. I just really wanted to add a photo of Kate Moss's sister because I didn't realise. She was born in 1998, so she's a lot younger than our Kate. But also another one who...
Sorry, it just looks like Kate's daughter.
It's not Lily.
Okay.
No. Tori Spelling also gave it a go. Didn't like it. She went on to as if Tori Spelling needs to lose weight. Jesus.
No.
She needs to eat something. She decided to go for Mount Jarrow, which is just the same. It's a different brand. But yeah, so who else have you got? Of course, you've got what's her name, Rosie O'Donnell. There's a picture of her.
So, you got a picture?
Yeah, I've just
I
put it
mean
up.
that's striking, isn't it? Well, I just wanted to.
Well, which picture do you think she looks better in?
Well, the first one with her in the black.
Yeah, she looks about 95 years old in the second one. Gaunt.
Yeah.
Like shriveling, you know. Look, I you know, there of course there is the benefits of the fact that it actually is unhealthy to be overweight. So people who are overweight, or obese, that's a risk in itself.
Yes.
But you know, you've got health issues with that. So Ozempic will stop that. But I suppose the problem is that people in Hollywood, you know, like Tori Spelling, I doubt was ever overweight. Rosie O'Donnell, look, she is bigger, so maybe it's been good for her and she'll live a lot more healthy years. She won't be able to enjoy a bowl of pasta though, which, God, how awful is that?
Well, any food, but we'll get into that. I want to quickly show you Stephen Fry quickly. Stephen Fry reveals Ozempic weight loss drug made him vomit 5 times a day.
Oh.
The actor lost 5.5 stone in just 4 months back in 2019. He said at the time that it was the result of walking and sensible diet. Well, yeah, so he lied about it at the time, but
did he?
Yeah, so he was on Ozempic, and yeah, it was a major flop basically. So it's dangerous, but also like, you know, like getting back to what you were talking about, like how are you getting the nutrition? Like we're not enjoying food, okay? So we're obviously not eating. How are we getting basic nutrition for
I
the
bet they're all
body?
popping a million vitamins. Do you know what I mean? They'd wake up and be like, I've got to have my vitamin C and I'm going to have my iron supplement and I'm going to go get an iron transfusion. Like they're just pretty much walking around eating tablets and pumping their bodies filled with like, you know, iron transfusions and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's a big industry as well, is getting, you know, the
and
IV.
you're not 20.
Yeah. But see, this is where I'm getting into the, you know, like at what length, you know, like is this going? It's giving kind of like death becomes her kind of thing. You know, you just go to any length to be beautiful and thin. And then at the end of the day, like what are we focusing on here? You know, it's just this empty shell. Like, you know, we're just sort of so self-obsessed of just the way we look and how we appear. But here's more of a list of people: Rebel Wilson, Sharon Osbourne, James Corden.
How's Rebel looking?
Oh my God, here's a photo of Rebel.
There you go.
There's a photo of Rebel. Amy Schumer, as I said, Oprah, Meghan Trainor, Rosie O'Donnell, Kelly Osbourne's another one, and basically all of the Kardashians as well are known for it. But like, this is where we get into, there is something now called, and you know, as we were saying, like with this rapid weight loss and like there's no nutrition, it's going to start looking like, you know,
gaunt,
unhealthy. Skin, more wrinkles, like, and it's like the moisture comes out. Anyway, there's this thing called Ozempic face, which is like it's now been put into the dictionary.
Is it like Sultana face? We've got like a wrinkly face.
Well, he's the face of Ozempic face.
Oh, that's bad.
I've forgotten his name. Scott Disick.
You need to explain to
Scott Disick. So basically, yeah, he just looks very skeleton-esque, I would say. He's well-known user of Ozempic. In fact, it was on the show that he was busted because Kourtney opened the fridge and people noticed in the audience watching Kardashians that he had boxes of Ozempic in the fridge because that's where you store it.
He looks gaunt and haunted.
Yeah.
Hollow eyes, sunken cheeks.
Hollow eyes, sunken, and just translucent looking. You know, we're getting close to
dying.
Yeah.
He looks awful.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not, I don't know. Like at the end of the day, I feel like the the weight of like all of the negative stuff, they still want to be skinny, you know, and it's going to kill people soon, I feel.
Well, also, I'm just checking if you can stay on Ozempic forever. Also, like, I just think to myself, what do you like? For me, an enjoyable day always involves what delicious food I'm going to eat, and of course, I exercise, or I stay fit. But my God, if you took food out of my life, I would be so bored. You know, like I'd be like that's what you look forward to, right? Like it's Saturday, and you're like, okay, let's get some really nice cheese and bread and some wine and olives and all that beautiful food that we have in the world. And to think that that is now removed from your life, I would be depressed.
Yeah, and a lot of functions are evolved around like Christmas and birthdays, and
You're not eating.
like with friends and family, you break bread, you
Yes.
you talk over, you know, a beautiful spread of food. That's how we that's the history of how we've connected in the past. So I can see what you're saying, but I mean, there has something to be said for food addictions. I know with myself, as someone who's diagnosed ADHD, I do have when I'm not medicated, have like binged on food, because it's like it's a dopamine hit. And I can imagine, and I luckily have quite a thin frame, but a lot of people have struggled, just, you know, like there's medical reasons for it. There's also trauma related reasons for it.
Yeah, but that's fine. We're not talking about those people. We're talking about the people like Tori Spelling who go, okay, I'm going to get on Ozempic too.
It's obsession with, exactly.
Yeah, of course there are some people who struggle with their weight all their life, and this would be a great thing for them, and they will live longer for it. And unfortunately, I mean, they won't have as big an appetite, but that is something that they're willing to do. But it's more the Hollywood element of it. And also the fact that, of course, you've all heard that it took away, you know, the drugs were actually becoming hard for people with type 2 diabetes to get it. So that's insane.
Which is actually, that is to hear that. Could you imagine going to the chemist as a celebrity and like just picking up your Ozempic when there's people that cannot, like they literally require that drug to live with their diabetes? You know, that's a special kind of human that's like going out to get their Ozempic drugs.
Or industry that's allowing that to happen, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there certainly should be an oversupply for people that aren't using it for cosmetic purposes. I don't know how they can control that. They probably can't. But yeah, it's just the state of things.
In Australia, you need to have a prescription. So I think it is a bit more regulated here. Like you'd need to go to the doctor.
And you have to have a prescription anywhere in the world. I mean, it's an injectable.
States, though. Like what did Chelsea Handler, the comedian, she was saying that she was given Ozempic and didn't even know she was on it.
Oh,
the doctor would just handed her out tablets, and she was taking that, and you know she started not. I mean, probably her fault. She should probably ask what it was. But her doctor gave her Ozempic. She wasn't actually aware she was on it. And she started losing weight.
That's interesting. Like,
and also, in a bigger thing as well, like they actually do say, and this book by Johan, what's his name? He actually goes into the fact that they say that it's going to completely destroy Johan Hari, the fast food industry.
Yeah,
people aren't
I didn't think of that.
Food anymore. Or like eating out, going out for dinner. Yeah, I mean, I suppose particularly the fast food industry, because it's for people that are eating a lot of that type of food who may be on Ozempic and then they're not buying it. So what are they going to do? Which actually, I mean, that's great. Go away, fast food industry.
Yeah, but I also think that, like, for the most part, this drug is really for the rich and famous. Like, you know, unless you really do have diabetes and you're prescribed, you know, and you can get you can get it through insurance or on the pharmaceutical benefit scheme. It's expensive. Not everyone has thousands of dollars a month to be skinny. Yeah, and look, there's also like, what is the cost here? Like, not only like we read out the side effects, but what are the long-term damage? We don't know anything, you know, there's no long-term studies on this. What's going to happen in 20 years? What's going to happen in 30 years? No one knows. And I wouldn't want to be a test bunny for this at all.
No. Unless you were seriously overweight and had like, you know, that affected your life to the extent that you were like, I really need to lose the weight because I am unhealthy. Like, of course, or unless you have type 2 diabetes and therefore you need this drug to regulate the hormones in your blood, go for it. But the Hollywood, for God's sake, like, we're just insane, aren't we? We really are insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. I think it talks to a bigger picture of where we're at in the world. Like, we haven't actually evolved much from like the surface of what we look like, which is kind of sad. But hopefully this is like, you know, the pendulum at the end of its line, and it's going to start slowly swinging back when people you know, in the public eye really start having serious damage to their liver, kidney, you know, who knows what happens in the future. But something's got to change, and potentially this will help shift some kind of, because I mean, you and me looking at those photos, like, I prefer a bit of meat on the bone, to be honest, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just about perspective, and it's about, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, like they say. And
well, what do people do that are obsessed with their like the big bum look? Like, do they take Ozempic and then go get bum inserts? How
the
insane
BBL, so it's the BBL. It's a Brazilian butt lift. So it is a cosmetic surgery that you can have, and it's extremely
dangerous.
It's a high risk cosmetic surgery. So
and unnecessary.
It's very unnecessary. Well, it's all from the, you know, Kardashians, you know, the era. It's very dangerous. It's a very risky surgery. I don't know why the bum is very risky, but it is. It's a big surface area. And people go to, you know, dodgy places to get it done around the world, you know?
Yeah.
But there's just, look, even like the injectables that people do in their face, like the big lip, and, you know, like, sometimes I feel like people look older. Is it just me?
No, for me, I'm like, they might look. I've never actually seen a woman of my age that's had some sort. I'm 40, turning 45. I've never seen a woman of my age that I know they're my age. I just know they've had Botox, right, or whatever they've had, fillers. The thing is, I probably I'm unable, because they're getting it a lot younger now. So like 20-year-olds are getting all sorts of things done.
Yeah.
I probably would not be able to tell you how old they were. I would be like, you know what I mean? Because there's absolutely the face has not changed or moved since they were 20. And like, some 20-year-olds can look, you know, 17 if they don't have pimples anymore. So I think, there'll be a new sort of wave of faces. I don't know what they're going to look like, but they're movement.
The rich and famous, there might be a new wave, but, you know, little old us, I think we'll be the little time.
Well, I'll be,
we are
a time capsule. Yeah, totally. Well, we'll be. I mean, that's just is what it is.
We'll be the opposite of a time capsule. We'll just keep living.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to wrap it up there. Like, I think we've covered all the bases there. What a strange old town. Like, to live in LA would be quite. It might be. Have you ever been to LA? Just quickly.
No, I have not.
Do you think you'd be like self-conscious, like walking around there with everyone's tip jobs and, you know, like looking perfection?
I think some people would look ridiculous, but I think you've got both sides of the coin. You've got very, very poor people and a lot of drug addicts hanging around, and then you've got
that's true.
Yeah, leading us on to a future episode that we may be doing on Montecito. Yes, based in the LA area, which is the glitzy suburb of Montecito, based in LA, where a lot of our favourite people live, including Oprah, who Nadia just accused of taking Ozempic. Oprah.
Don't sue me, Oprah.
Gwyneth.
Megan.
Yeah,
Megan. Can we just give a quick shout out? Megan has her new series dropping on Tuesday.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Season 2.
So anyway, that's a future episode we will do, and we'll catch up on other celebrity news very, very soon.
Awesome. See you next time, guys.
See you later.
Och, that's enough moaning for today, lasses. See you next week.